Getting a lot of texts in, obviously, about Mark Radcliffe being in the show. Simon's very excited about it. Jackie and her sis Karen in Glasgow went to see Malcolm Middleton tonight, randomly supporting, guess who? Brian Kennedy. Hello, it's Brian Kennedy here. How are you? Couldn't think of a stranger person. Also, a lot of people texting him One Man and His Frog. Steve's very into that. So we'll play loads of clips, obviously, and talk to Mark from 11. Andy, apart from the obvious, Fat Harry White, have you got a particular favourite?
I was on Fat Harry White.
Were you?
When they did the breakfast show.
Wow. Little did you know where you'd be X amount of years later.
I know, it's brilliant.
Wow, well done. So any particular other things? So I have one that we haven't been able to find a clip of.
Is it the Hallian menswear?
No, not Hallian menswear. Morris Idol was just a 3-week affair, but from start to finish, genius. And because we got most of our clips from the internet, it shows how good Northern Ireland, how good Radio 1 store shows. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had to get most of ours from the internet.
I know.
But Morris Idol was amazing. Right up to the finale, when Lard was exposed, that was amazing.
The whole shed of dread.
Yeah, it's got to be up there. Okay, well listen, here's Les Savy Fav. What would Wolves do? Now we'll see if Mark's about. When Chico and Choosing My Religion, right? It's just coming up to 11 o'clock. Now, we did Live 8 on Radio 1 and Live 8, and it linked up all around the world. We're just having a few problems contacting Manchester at the moment, but we'll have it sorted by the end of this song. When Mark Radcliffe first started at night times on Radio 1, he had a one-hour show, and in the office today, by consensus, we all remember him playing a lot of this band. Given the first line of this song, we thought it'd be a good way to welcome Mark Radcliffe. There you go, a good way to welcome Mark Radcliffe to the show if we weren't having technical problems, which is a bit gutting. I'm assuming you can't hear me at the moment, Mark, can you?
I'm here.
Oh, come on!
That was a leap into the unknown there, because there's people on phones and things at this end and taking jack plugs out and plugging them in other places and shaking their heads and scratching their chins. So I thought, well, when you said hello, I'd just say hello and see what happened.
There was a great moment there. There was like 20 seconds left to Led Zeppelin. Was that all right as an opener?
Oh, that's a cracker, that.
Yeah.
But it sort of takes me back to the times you've been talking about, because it's been sort of strange hearing you talk about those old times and items which I'd forgotten about. And I remember sitting here doing many a show wondering whether the lines and everything was gonna connect up in time, and often it didn't. So it was quite nostalgic, really.
The lines down to London Village.
Indeed, so London Village. Yeah.
You know what? It's a funny thing. There's many things that remind people of Mark Radcliffe and Radio 1 and of Mark and Lard. And this is a really silly one that we're going to have in the background maybe 20 times between now and midnight. But it's this.
Yeah.
Every show for years now.
Every show for years. I mean, this is Corner Shop, isn't it? And Sleep on the Left Side. And after the Mark and Lard show finished, I should think Corner Shop's income fell by about 95%. Because we used to play this for about half an hour every day.
You see, they get paid every time you play that as
That's
PRS.
Right.
And, I mean, for a band that only had one hit, they live in a mansion in Hampstead.
Which, funnily enough, I played Brimful of Asher on the Radcliffe and McConey show tonight. But it's really strange, because I'm sat in the studio, hearing you talk about all those things, sat in the studio in Manchester, where we did all those items, and there's just me here, and Nico Bobinus, who was an engineer on those old nighttime shows, and some Shire Horses guitars on the wall, and a big oil painting of me and the boy Lard, and we should explain that. I mean, this will be further proof for those who want it that me and Lard have fallen out irrevocably, but we haven't. It's just that he's kind of he's moved on and he doesn't like talking about the past and everything, but I'm too much of a tart to say no to going on anyone else's show.
I mean, that can't happen. I mean, the Beatles still loved each other. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
It's just George wasn't interested.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I can tell you, Mr. Radcliffe, it's a pleasure to have you on, and the texts are ridiculous that are coming in.
Really?
And for us, it's good as well, just to have all the different little little memories. And I've said that, the people were saying, can I have a Stop Carry On, can I have a Biggity Biggity Bong? I was like, I just can't. You can't do that. It's sacrilegious. It's like a bad cover version.
Well, do you know what I mean? The thing is that I can't do it either, really, because it was Lard who did all those sort of things, and I enjoyed your mix of it, all his bits of his catchphrases and his hand farting noises and things coming through.
Oh, you can't. It's the best fart ever.
So, that's it. God, that was 10 years of my life, him farting with his hands. It was with his hands. It would have been a lot longer 10 years if it wasn't his hands.
The funny thing is, I didn't listen to Radio 1 growing up, and it was just one of those things. It was an English station, it never felt like, and I first started listening to Radio 1 about 16, which coincided with your arrival at the station. So in many ways, Mark Radcliffe's my Tony Blackburn.
I'm not quite sure how to take that, but
hopefully badly. And it's always for those people who are listening to 16 and going, right, what's going on? I mean, anyone who didn't listen to Mark and Lard and think they've obviously missed out on something with the amount of adulation coming in. It was passion for music, and it was comedy. It was funny, and it wasn't up its own arse, and it was great tunes that introduced you to loads of bands, especially when you're in the evening. Do you want to start with a song, or do you want to play a clip from something? I've got so many here.
Well, I don't mind. I mean, I don't know what you've got to play. I've got no control over it at this end. I'm just here blathering on, so you can play what you like,
well,
really.
We definitely got to play the Shire Horses.
Oh, well, quality.
Yeah,
I mean,
Funny enough, on the day that you come back onto Radio 1, Reese as well, who was in the Shire Horses, returned as an exec to Radio 1.
Did he? Yeah.
What about that?
Chunky Hughes, he was known as in the Shire Horses.
You know what he's known as now?
I dread to think.
Chunky Hughes.
Is he?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this one suits the bill, fits the bill even. Ours suits the bill if we want to do mixed metaphors. What about a bit of the Ramones, I Don't Want to Grow Up?
Oh, please.
Oh, yes, thank you. It's the Ramones, I Don't Want to Grow Up. That sounded good, Radcliffe.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's from the last album, isn't it? Adios Amigos, 95, I think. It was written by Tom Waits, that. And even till this day, that's just one of those tracks that when it finishes, it just makes me want to put it straight back on again, think.
I've got this image, right, do you remember Trading Places? The Eddie Murphy,
yeah.
Of the guys out of corner shop. They're down and out now, and they're living in a cardboard box. And it's like that. What were they called? Wardolph or Randolph? Randolph, we're back.
Right.
Radcliffe's back in the radio. Other memories coming in on the text. Who could forget the mysterious word of David Blaine?
Yeah, that was right. He was the illusionist whose illusions always went wrong, didn't he? And he brought all his props in. His car always broke down, his Morris Marina or something, didn't it? The mysterious world of David Blaine. Yeah, that's right.
£5, mush and gwumble.
Whoa, it's a lot of cash, wasn't it? £5. Yeah.
10p short.
10p short. God. I mean, this is just like, you've been in the attic and uncovered a trunk of old photos.
Well, listen, for everyone who's texting in, I really don't encourage you for people who didn't hear it and who are younger. They'll just have to put up with us for the next hour or so.
That was always our approach to it. The audience sort of came fairly low. As long as it amused us, we did it,
Yeah. Well, listen, how you get away with some of the stuff you got away with is really by explaining it, and any double entendre was explained so you didn't get into trouble. Right. So if you permit me for the next few minutes, for us, missing words right up there, right? That's vintage. Have you? It'd just be interesting to see. We pick one that we think is our favourite. We were all sit and talk, and we think this is our. Have you got a particular favourite missing word?
I can't remember what I did on the show tonight. I can't remember half of these things. When you were saying before, you were mentioning Morris Idle, and I'd completely forgotten about that. Although when you mentioned it, I did remember that Morris Idle, which was a kind of. It was the time when just Pop Idol and things were starting, wasn't it? And the judges was Ian McMillan and Bernard Wrigley, the Bolton Bullfrog. I think the eventual winner was Stotty Columbine Edgeworth, as I recall.
What was the guy that judged it from Burnley called?
Yeah, but there was Ian McMillan, the poet, and then there was the Bolton Bullfrog, Bernard Wrigley.
That's so hard.
Everyone who was on, all these kids doing Morris dancing, he used to say, "I thought it were absolutely." Can you say shite on?
Yeah, you just can't say the word that you bleeped out.
No.
Because that was what's great about it. It was the worst bleeping of the F word I've ever heard. I think you took half the U out.
I think, that was Lard that I used to, because it was before digital, and we used to just edit, about a quarter of an inch of tape in the middle. So I think eventually, honestly, towards the end, we just cut the F word in half and put a bleep in the middle. So I think technically the whole word was there. Very cool.
I tell you what, Miles in Manchester's texted in, unfortunately we won't have time for Mouse News tonight.
But quality item, that.
Well, you see, we've decided the news isn't as important as the sport, so we might talk to Boots and Snatch at the WANK Sports Network.
Butch, Slong and Snatch frigate.
Right, missing word, you can't remember any, but...
no, I can't remember any.
We're going to play this one, right? We're going to do... I'm just going to play it, okay?
Okay, here we go.
Missing words. What? Missing...
Oh, hang on.
What?
No, they're just buzzing through to me.
What?
In my new headphones that are the wrong way round. Oh, no, it's my head that's the wrong way round.
Is it? Yeah, I'll get that
I'm going to start doing the show like this, you see, because
that's better.
Left and right's better if I
that
turn with my back
works.
to the mic, isn't it?
Yeah, good
And
on you.
also, I'm not dazzled by any lights then.
You've got something there. Anyway, what's going on? What does he want?
No.
Missing words.
Steve Wright's in reception. He says
Steve Wright, the DJ?
Yeah, well, he says he missed a couple of pointers at yesterday's DJ masterclass that we gave.
Right.
And could you just put him right on a couple of things?
Me?
Yeah, well, he's asked for you, yeah.
Me? Well...
You just have to nip and see him, you know.
I'll have a word. I don't know if I can help.
Well, no, he's on tape today on the other station, so he's come on.
I'll be back in a minute.
All right, mate. Okay, fair enough then. All right, then, let's play Missing Words. Who's on the line today, then?
Tumty Tom, it's Dermot Marsh.
Dermot who?
Tumty Tom, Dermot O'Fran and Hard.
Oh, and how are you today, Dermot?
I'm good, yeah, you know. I'm just sat here in my conservatory looking out over the view.
Right, and where is home, Dermot?
It's Seashell Cottage at the top of the coastal road over there.
Oh, lovely. In which town?
Birmingham, Marsh?
Very nice. And what have you been up to today, then, Derm?
Well, I've been waiting at the local train station there with a catapult and some cat feces, just in case Craig David turns up.
All right. Is he due in Birmingham around now?
Well, not that I'm aware of, Mark, but as you know, there's always hope. I mean, I don't mind putting in the hours. I mean, I go down there most days. I'll get it one day, Mark.
Top man. And what music do you like, mate?
Well, my favourite artist, I have to say, are the Tigers of Pantang.
Oh, wow.
Shakin' Stevens.
Yeah.
Brian and Michael.
Yeah.
Late Simply Red. And a guy called Gerald. Oh, that Voodoo Ray, that trance classic, Mark. Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, all you have to do today is spot the missing word from a tune I'm about to play you.
Excellent, yes.
If you should guess the word correctly, you will win the chance to shadow Radio 1's leading light Dave Pearce as he takes his monthly colonic irrigation sessions at Anal Traxaros in Peckham.
Wow.
After which you will go for a cabbage balti with Dave and his best mate Ronnie Corbett.
Oh!
Followed by a 4-hour round-the-board topless dart session in Dave's dungeon.
Excellent.
How does that sound, Dermot?
It's a bloody good night, and I don't mind saying that, Mark.
Okay, mate, let's see if we can't help you win it. Here's the tune. Are you ready?
I am.
Here we go.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I love this tune.
Yes.
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 Oh, yeah.
All right, so what do you think about that, then?
I think you cut that off a bit short then, but you know, this is amazing, this, Mark.
What?
Because you won't believe this. Right?
What?
It's quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
But spookily, right?
Get on with it.
I saw Simply Red on TV just the other night. Can you believe that?
Yeah, they were on later.
Yeah, I know, amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too.
God, you know, I mean, it's just like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. This is weirding me out, Mark. We'd best get on with it, I think.
Well, don't let it. Anyway, do you think you know the word?
Oh, of course I do. Suck it to me, Bubba.
Bubba?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Here it comes then. Just sing the missing word when the gap comes up, all right?
Yeah. And it's too tight to mention.
What? You what?
Cut back.
Never mind.
Shut
Cut
up.
back.
Funny too tight to mention.
Funny's too tight.
Oh, funny. Oh, I love it. I'm talking about Fanny. I'm talking about Fanny.
Yes, I think...
Oh,
no.
God. Oh, I love
What are you
that.
on about? It's not funny.
What?
It's money. Money's too tight to mention. It's not Fanny's too tight to mention.
Oh, no, I think you'll find it is funny, Mark.
No.
No, I know the tune, yeah. No, it definitely is funny. Excellent.
Why would it be funny?
What?
Why?
Well, I think you'll find I'm right, Mark, because this tells the story of Mick Hucknall's imaginary sister, Fanny.
Right.
Who, in a blatant case of envy of her wealthy and hugely successful brother, refused to buy a round of drinks down the pub. Now, nor would she give money to charity or nothing. She would notoriously mean what's funny. Hence, Fanny's too tight to mention.
So the old imaginary sister route, is it?
Yeah. Well, he's an artist, his mind runs riot with it.
It's not funny, it's it's money.
No, I think you'll find it is funny,
No,
Mark.
I think you'll find it's money.
Okay, well, play in the proper version then. We'll see.
Here we go, right.
Funny too tight to mention. Oh, cut back.
No.
What are you on about?
No, it's not that.
It is.
It's money, listen.
Funny too tight to mention.
Money's right, it's not there anyway.
Funny.
Oh,
yeah.
money. No. I've had enough of this. Right, cut back.
Oh dear.
I think you'll find it is funny, Mark.
Oh dear.
You're just playing the one clip then, eh? It's about a quarter of an hour long, yeah.
We were like going through stuff in the office and we were like, you can't, because you can't cut off the fact that every time you wanted to do anything, Lordy Boy had a ruse to leave the studio. You just can't get rid of bits like that. That's what makes it.
Yeah, no, I'd forgotten about
dear.
I forgot about that.
That is. We must have listened to that one 4 times today, right? It's been like a trip down memory lane for us, going through, picking stuff out.
Yeah.
And just every time and time again, just listening over.
It did make me laugh. It did make me and Nick laugh a lot this end. I've got to say, you shouldn't laugh at your own jokes.
But you see, you've forgotten them all because of your memory. So
I'd even forgotten about that item, missing word. I'd completely forgotten about it.
People on the text haven't. I just wanted to just mention, Simon in Glasgow and Peter in Ipswich and Tom in Bedfordshire and Claire in Ian and Maidstone and Horace and Claire in Richmond and Barry in Durham and and loads of people texting in. It's funny that if you forget your own jokes, they become funny.
I know. I think those were mostly Lard's jokes in that one anyway.
Yeah. Pat Nevin, who I do the football with on 5, he forgets all the games he played for Chelsea, and he was watching ESPN Classic and he was in a game and he didn't know the score against Spurs and they won 3-2 and he set up the winner and scored 1. He was jumping around his living room.
Yeah.
He didn't realise how good a player he was.
Oh, that's good. Well, it's good to come back. I suppose you don't want to be too self-obsessed and constantly go over your back catalogue, do you? Really, that would be utterly tragic.
like Lard, I know. As far as the bands that you played on daytime on Radio 1, and there's obviously a limited amount of space that Radio 1 DJs are given during the day, what were the ones that you really enjoyed playing amid stuff that you weren't too keen on, that you got a great response and...
Oh, God, I don't know. What did we play? I can't remember what we played tonight. I mean, it's like, when we went on daytime, it was all, there were times when it was a bit of a battle, but that was more our fault than Radio 1's, really. We were just being a bit arsey most of the time, But, we used to, they weren't so bad with us, really. Towards the end, it got a bit airy, but, it was bound to, wasn't it, really?
I mean, I remember hearing Nick Cave a lot during the day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was something that a couple of times I was lucky enough to play Nick during the day. And I remember you introducing Nick Cave at a party for John Peel, which I always remember had the best finger buffet I've ever seen in my life. And it was about 400 people, and I think we had Joy Division, we had Billy Bragg and Nick Cave, and I always was so grateful to you. I just moved over for you coercing him into playing Into My Arms.
Oh yeah, well, it's a glorious tune. I mean, I think that when we were playing the records on the radio during the day, we never kind of thought that we weren't being deliberately belligerent. Well, we were a bit, probably. But I mean, we just thought that these were the best records we'd heard, and we wanted people to hear them, and we just thought that Radio 1 at that time could have been a bit more, a bit broader, shall we say. But, it was a constant battle, and eventually they sort of got rid of us, and so that's fine. That's the way these things go, isn't it? So.
But you're, I'm very happy now that you're not on between 10:30 and midnight. I noticed I noticed an upturn straight away in the text alone when you moved. It was like, this is the thing. Whilst you were one of the first DJs I listened to, you were also the DJ that Edith and I went into that slot that you were in, which was like, it literally was. And your next presenters of the afternoon slot in Radio 1 is Osama bin Laden. again. It was that type of response we got on the text.
Well, we got that when we did the breakfast show after Chris Evans.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a poison chalice, and you've just got to ride it out. You know. Unfortunately, with the breakfast show, we didn't get time to ride it out, which I should hurriedly point out was entirely the right decision on behalf of Radio 1's management at that time. I've never been as glad in my life as when Matthew Bannister came to see me in Manchester and said, "Oh, we can't carry on with this, lads. We just cannot." We said, "Fine, thanks very much. Do you have a job for us?" He said, "You can go to the afternoons if you want." We said, "Brilliant, thanks." You know, it was great.
Was your favourite time looking back on Radio 1 the evening shows, or was it that afternoon slot?
I think the evening one, the graveyard shift one, the 10 till midnight thing, I think that was when it was really new and it was really exciting, and that we couldn't really believe that we'd got that much airtime to mess about with and do what we want. So, you know, we were on at 10. We used to come in about 10 in the morning because we were so excited to be allowed in the studio and mess about with sound effects and build things up and everything. And by the afternoon, it was really great because, you know, we'd sort of gone through the breakfast show and we thought our careers were dead in the water. But it was like, even though we enjoyed it and all the stuff, you know, that we did, we're dead proud of, we knew it was a real job then, and we were kind of convinced that we could do it for a bit. Whereas in the evenings, we were expecting them to tap us on the shoulder, you know, most weeks and say, "We've found some real disc jockeys to do it now." You know, as it turned out, that didn't happen to us till we got to the breakfast show.
Well, listen, I played Nick Cave quite a lot, so let's not do that, because I've got 5 tracks that you want to play, and I'd like to play all 5, and we're already near halfway bloody through. Stereolab French Disco's particularly, like, you got to play this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if I think of one record that reminds me of that nighttime show when we just kind of, I don't know, even if you were feeling low and if you were feeling rough or anything, you know, this just absolutely pulled you out with the mire so much, you know. And I think if there's one record, probably 2 records that are associated with the nighttime show, the other one I hope we'll get time to play, but you know, I mean, you couldn't remember those times without playing this.
Okay, mate. Lots of people loving that in the text. Stereolab, French Disco, that's for Liz in Castleford, and Lynn's in Manchester, who's just loving the combination of your voice and that, Mark, so there you go.
Well, I mean, that brings it all back for me, that one record, you know, more than any of the clips, really, you know, that just reminds me of those times, that tune, yeah.
It was interesting because I had an idea of what tracks we could play, and then you sent the list through, and then I was also looking at some stuff you play in your news show at the moment, and some tracks that we played. As you played the Cloud Room this week, we played it roughly at the same time as well.
We played Les Savvy Fav earlier on tonight as well. Yeah,
it's a good song as well. Yeah. What's exciting you now? I mean,
do you know what? The best thing I've heard recently is a singer-songwriter from Virginia called Devon Sproul, and we had her on Monday night, and she was absolutely astonishing. She had old BJ Cole on the pedal steel with her. Amazing. And yeah, that was absolutely sensational, I've got to say. Well, it did sound a bit like Tony Blackburn then, didn't it? Absolutely sensational sound on Radio 1. It's funny being back on Radio 1. You know, I'm doing it from Manchester because, you know, but I think they would have allowed me in the building because they invited me to this celebratory brunch on Sunday.
Who? I've never heard of a celebratory brunch.
I'm not going, but just because I can't. But I will be going to a transport cafe near my house with my children. I will be sort of thinking of Ed Stewpot and Tony Blackburn and Peter Powell while I tuck into cheese on toast.
Did you get on with all the DJs in here, or did you not really know them that well because you were in Manchester all the time?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I was a producer in the mid-'80s, and it was the time of Simon Bates and Steve Wright and Mike Reed and all those guys, you know, Dave Lee Travis. And actually, I mean, you didn't get near them, the big daytime boys. I mean, Steve Wright had his people, Simon Bates had his people, and there were these kind of camps that sort of never met. And as a young producer, you weren't really welcome on the 4th floor of the now demolished Egton House. It was, but everyone else was. The first day I started at Radio 1, there were only. I sat in a little box, you know. I'd sort of been working for Piccadilly Radio Manchester. I sat in this little box, which was my office, and I thought, what do I do now? I'm here, you know. And there was only 2 knocks on the door all day. One was from an old producer who worked there called Pete Ritzema, and the other was from Annie Nightingale, who just sort of knocked on the door and said, "Are you all right? Do you know where you are? Do you know where your locker is?" and all that, you know, first day at school and all that kind of thing. And Annie and Peel were the 2 people I'd listened to growing up, so I was absolutely thrilled to see Annie poke her head round the door.
And did you produce sessions over at Maida Vale?
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier, old Peel sessions.
Yeah.
You've got credits on those.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get to see it. Who the type of bands that you had in there?
Mark Riley and the Creepers were on that was there must have been a thin week for bookings. But I used to go and I mean, when I say produce, I was just trying to pretend I knew what I was doing. I'd never done any of it before, and the engineers and the bands could generally do all the stuff and everything. So I used to. Eventually, I stopped pretending to be Phil Spector, and I just used to go in and the band would play the first song, something, and the engineer said, "Oh, it sounds fine." So I'd sort of said, "Right, well, do 4 more like that then, and come and get me when it's finished." That was the sort of extent of my production. But I remember doing the Pogues and things down there, which was a big thrill.
Of course, who you went on to do On Stars in Her Eyes, and you won, didn't you?
I did win. Yeah,
I didn't win mine, but then I did Mark Knopfler. So that
did you do Mark Knopfler?
I did Mark Knopfler.
Did you?
I looked like Bjorn Borg. That was the problem, because they say it's a sound alike. When no one watching it thinks that.
Yeah.
That's not what you think.
No, that's true. Yeah. I think I did look quite like him, and I thought I sounded like him until I heard it back, and then, as it was pointed out to me, it was Shane McGowan, but it did sound suspiciously Cornish. It was like the Cornish Rover. I was doing it at that point.
It's amazing the little things that people remember, and then it sparks off a memory in me as well. Joe in Epsom says, Grandaddy the Crystal Lake reminds him of Mark and Lard in the afternoon. That's the first place I heard Grandaddy.
That's what I should have said when you said, what bands did you like playing in the afternoon?
Yeah.
And, thank you very much, whoever said that. Grandaddy, absolutely, the Crystal Lake,
We used AM 180, was in the little ad they gave us for the show when we started.
That's right, yeah, that was the first tune of theirs I heard, I think, yeah.
Ian in Bournemouth says, you just... Because you were known for saying what you thought about records. Usually you disguise it, like Kieran Dyer, what's he doing? Stuff like that. You describe Snoop Dogg as the musical equivalent of watching paint dry, says Ian in Bournemouth. He remembers that. These are the little things that are coming in.
Yeah.
And Barry is said on the text that you remember you played half of the rude version of Mystical's Shake Your Ass. And him and his mate Andy still have a laugh about it. So sometimes it doesn't have to be big things. No. But if there had to be a big thing, Mark, of all the funny things that you did, the most common thing coming through in the text is Fat Harry White. So let's play a little bit now, if that's okay with you. Yeah, well, I remember how that came about, because I remember there was a news story at the time when there was an interview with Barry White, and he'd said that he was talking about his home life, and during which he'd revealed, well, more than you wanted to know, really, that he'd made love to his wife on the dining table. We thought, well, what a tremendous testimony to the strength of that dining table that was. And we were doing that sort of news story, and I said, put us a funny Fat Harry White voice on, put us a Barry White voice on. And that was how it began, from that little news story. Really. Like any accent on the show, it was mainly Manchester, with just a little Bolton or Manchester.
He was trying to be smooth, though, wasn't he? He was trying to put it on the mid-Atlantic, and the mask kept dropping.
Well, Guy in the M6 says, you gotta warn me, I gotta pull over, because he actually crashed once. Whilst listening to Fat Harry White. Never since, he said he'd never drive a vehicle while listening. So, Guy, you're going to have to pull over now. Mark Radcliffe's with us because it's Radio 1's 40th birthday, and we couldn't think of a better way to spend it. So, mate, we'll play this, we'll come back and we'll see what records you want to play.
Okay.
All right, mate.
Hey, my little sex kitten, come over here. Let's curl up in front of the roaring log fire on my sheepskin hearth rug. He and you and me, babe. Let's get it on for a perfect evening of love. Yeah. Hey, they're talking about cats, right, and all that business. You know Foxy Fiona, my very special, sexy lady friend? She phoned me the other day, and she said she had a bit of a problem with her pussy. You know, Tom, black moggy, big cat, long whiskers, eats a lot of fish. You've seen him. Anyway, she said the problem was that when she locked the house up in the evening, there was no way the cat could get in the middle of the night, you know. Well, I knew how to solve that problem and set off immediately in my soft-top Bedford rascal. Whoosh! Down the road I went to our local DIY superstore, where I asked Sexy Sandra, the sexy sales assistant, if she'd show me her flaps. My intention being to make a cat flap for Foxy Fiona's door. Well, just as Sexy Sandra was about to show me what she had, Bob the manager walks in and said he'd sort me out in the storeroom round the back. Well, after inspecting his range, with widths that varied from 3 inches to 12, all in a choice of either a matte or gloss finish, I told him it was his shiny 9-incher that I wanted. Well, after giving it me over the counter, I left. A more than happy man. Anyway, when I got back to Foxy Fiona's, I got it out and asked her where she wanted me to stick it. Now, to be honest, she didn't have much choice, front or back. I mean, you've only got 2 doors, there's not much choice, is there, as I said? Well, she said she fancied it round the back. So, without any hesitation, I got on the job and slotted it in before you could say Jack Robinson. I'm not kidding, Foxy Fiona was absolutely speechless when I finished off seconds later with one final screw. I guess she never realised I'd be so quick, But you've got to look after your pets, haven't you? I mean, you've got to think carefully before you give a pet for a gift. Now, it was one of my very sexy lady friend's birthdays just the other day. Pouting Pauline, big lips, mousy-coloured hair. You seen it, anyway. I didn't know what to get her until Fat Laz, my old mate, suggested I get her a pet. Now, he said he'd seen her outside the pet shop with her mate Trish and overheard Pauline saying that she'd love to have a cockatoo on her birthday. Well, Fat Larry said I should make her happy and, give her one. So I did. I went straight to the pet shop, got me wad out and spent it on this bird. Lovely cockatoo it is. Percy, he's called. Anyway, when I presented Pauline with Percy, you wouldn't believe how well the old bird went down. She stroked its big head, looked it straight in the eye, and said she'd never seen a specimen like it. She said she'd seen some peckers in her time, but this horny one took some beating. I'm not kidding. Percy's beak was something else. Well, everything was fine until I decided to get its food and feed it. What a disaster that was, right? As I was coming through the door, I accidentally spilt a large quantity of seed on her whole carpet. Almost emptied the complete sack of it everywhere. Still, it didn't stay there for long. Sexy Pauline came over. Before I knew it, sucked it up in one go. I'm not kidding. I've never seen anyone move so fast with a Hoover before. Well, at the end of the day, she said she was really happy that I'd given her Percy on her birthday and was sure he'd give her many years of pleasure in the future. That's the thing, really. If you're going to make a gift of a pet, just make sure it's someone who'll look after it properly. Now, come over here. Yes, I'm talking to you.
There you go. Text. Well, how hard was it to record these? Because I don't know how you do it, because if something's funny to me for a second, I can't say it without laughing. Was it hard sometimes to record anything without... I know you say about laughing at your own jokes, but you must have realised how funny it was when you were doing it.
I don't know, the thing about Fat Harry White was that I always remember, I think he used to be on about, in the afternoons, about 3:15. And
Schools?
Yeah. A load of people said they used to hear Fat Harry White, and then just after he finished, you'd get about 20 people getting out of the cars to go and pick up the kids. They would just hang on to hear Fat Harry at the school gates. Great. But, he was a character with some that was taken from his hit album, The Seduction Selection, as I recall. Wasn't it?
Yeah. The feature that gets his own record.
Yeah, no, it sold about 20,000 copies of that album. And the great thing about it is that, I don't know what that one's called, but, there's tracks on it called My Baby Stroke My Beard. And we get royalty statements still for these things, and for, international sales.
Oh,
so I'll get, 15 pence for My Baby Stroke My Beard in kind of, Bulgaria or something. You think, what is anybody doing listening to it there? But,
Now, have you forgot about Dre yet? Because it's important that you don't. A lot of people are saying, I've got to ask you if you've forgotten about Dre.
Dre, yes. It rings a vague bell. You'll have to remind me.
And the other one is a few people texting about Macy Gray, the hammering you gave that track. Do you remember that?
No.
You basically would just do this for ages. I'll do it for you here. It doesn't take too long. It was a very quick gag. But as I say, a lot of times it's just the silly things that stick in people's minds. I'll do it for you now.
Games, changes and fears. When will they go from here? When will they stop?
Carry on. The one I remember with that was the Blue Tones. You remember that? Blue Tones.
Yeah,
and it started off, it said, "Where did you go?" And then it said, "Where's he gone now? Where's he gone? Hey, bloody, come on!" We used to do that, sometimes for a quarter of an hour or something.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
It was I wish I could remember, but my memory's about as good as yours. It was a track that you absolutely hated so much that I remember you must have played it 10 times and never stopped talking. You just talked from start to finish, always. piece, and it was just like in the background, but you introduced it.
I'll tell you the one thing that someone reminded me of the other day, and I've never heard it since the day that we did it. I can't remember, we used to have a thing where we said, I've got a tune in my head, and I can't just remember what it is. And he'd sing like, do, and say, oh yeah, you know, it's Return to Sender or something, which wasn't. I mean, one day we did, I've got this tune in my head, what is it? Do 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 do, and we sang the whole of Tubular Bells. We sang for about, like, we just put records on and then faded ourselves back up, singing the whole of Tubular Bells. And I'd love to hear that again, but I haven't got it, so if anybody has, maybe they could send it in.
They could send it into our black hole as well, because all the stuff's on the internet, so we do have the Tuesday night, so it'd be good, and there's a lot of stuff we're not going to get in tonight that we'll do next Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Really? Yes. Now, let's go back to the evenings, and another track that you put down when we asked you what you like to play, the Muffs.
I don't know why this came into my head, really, although it seems kind of appropriate to play it after Fire. They were just a three-piece led by Kim Shattuck, a Californian kind of punk pop band, and is this Won't Come Out to Play?
No, Blonder and Blonder.
Blonder and Blonder is the tune?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that one.
It's the only one I've got here. Do you want to change?
Well, what else have you got? Because we won't get them all in, will you?
It's the only one I've got of the Muffs here. But
is that an album or a track?
It was just the one I had, so I thought it's only I could do Tender Sticks, Tiny Tears.
Well, we should finish on that, really, because that was the song.
All right.
Have you got any others?
What else did you put in your list?
I don't know. You've got the list. I haven't got the list.
You put the Pogues in your list.
Have you got the Pogues?
Yeah, I got Irish Rover here.
Oh, yeah, we'll have the Pogues.
All right. Yeah. There you go, Irish Rover by the Pogues, and well, of course, the Dubliners as well. Darren in Orkney says that's a perfect time for a biggity biggity bong and a Jim McDonald style after that. There, you know.
Well, that's up to you, isn't it?
I can't. I would never do.
You could do the Jim McDonald style.
I'm not doing a Lardy Boy biggity biggity bong. There's no way.
I found some old jingles here.
Oh, go on then.
Radio 1.
Mark and Lard, the kings of pop.
There's all still just lying about.
Mark and Lard on Radio 1. It's all scripted, you know.
All these Kylie Minogue bits, because her career was dead. She couldn't get arrested, Kylie Minogue. I mean, it's true, she said that. She said that was all that kept her on the airwaves for about 18 months was...
Radio 1.
Mark and Lard. Who?
That was before she bought those gold hot pants for 10 pence in an Oxfam shop, and then her career was up again, wasn't it?
Well, didn't that Who come from a guy at Maida Vale, an engineer, something? Someone has told me a story, and he had a band in who were massive. It could have been Led Zeppelin. He was like, Led Zeppelin, who?
yeah, it probably did come from something like that,
But here's a nice text, Mark, because I want to get a few more things in, definitely with 10 minutes left. And it's a good time to play the Shire Horses. We're going to play Feel Like Shite. Is that good?
Right.
Is that all right?
Well, that's the trouble with the Shire Horses. It's all quality, isn't it?
Exactly. Rach says that she was a successful 1p and 2p's in a pod.
Oh, yeah, 2p's in a pod.
It says great. It says it's perfect for tonight. She's in the hospital. She's about to have a baby.
Oh, right.
And maybe she call it Mark Lard now. It'll be Mark Lard, whatever your second name is.
Do you know, there's a player who plays for Man City called Mark Lard. He's only one letter away.
So Rach says, I've missed the Shire Horses, and you haven't. I'll do that for you now. And so, yeah, we're going to do that one. There was arguments about what one we should do, but we did. What did we do on Tuesday? We did a roll with it on Tuesday.
Oh, did you?
We're going to do one that we can't actually remember, but then heard today when we're looking through stuff, which was he lives with a spouse, his very big spouse in the country.
Oh, country spouse, yeah.
Country spouse, brilliant. Yeah. So should we do for grass then?
Do for grass,
right, mate,
absolutely, yeah.
We are old, we are cheap.
There you go.
Well, you see, that's the Feelings whole act right there. I mean, you know, it was so influential, and the harmonies, it's like the Beach Boys, really. You know.
Mate, this has went way too quick. I don't know where the times went at all. Tender Sticks, as you'll know, Tiny Tears, 5.5 minutes, and
is it?
Gonna be no
okay.
cutting of that, so you got a minute.
Well, I just Tinder Sticks were on the first and the last of those nighttime shows, the Graveyard Shift, along with the poet Simon Armitage. So we sort of bookended it with Tinder Sticks, who was sort of almost house band for a time back there.
Yeah. the texts are coming in amazing. Funny enough, well, I don't have time to tell this story, so I won't. I was going to talk about how so it's poetry and stuff. It's like that. We've been looking at doing stuff like that in this show, and we want to start doing stuff on a Thursday night. But it's so hard when it's been done so well before.
Everybody's forgotten about it now.
Yeah, I know, but you just feel the shadow of it.
I won't tell anybody.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Go for it.
We've had a few texts in that are funny, like tell Mark he owes me 15 quid in CD vouchers from Wheel of Misfortune, but I'll let it lie.
Well, apparently, Alex James from Blur was on Radio 1 this week, who's still a bit miffed that the other members of Blur won a kettle. and even though he owns half the Cotswolds now, it still rankles, apparently. So, people do remember these things.
Listen, the texts have all been amazing tonight, mate. I'm sure you can probably see them anyway up there, but so thanks to everyone who's texted in. It's established 1967. It's Radio 1's 40th birthday, and that's how we wanted to celebrate it. Loads of stuff tomorrow, loads of stuff on Sunday, but we've had Mark Radcliffe on, and
thanks for having me. Yeah,
mate, it's been humbling. It's been lovely to have you on.
Not at all. It's been good. Yeah, it's good.
We haven't got even half the stuff in. We'll do some stuff in the Black Hole next Tuesday to make
right. I'll listen.
up for that.
Yeah.
And we'll finish with the Tinder sticks.
Okay, thanks a lot.
And if you do me a favour, don't move back to any time between 10 and midnight, because I intend to be here for a while, and I like having the listeners that you had,
All right, I'll stay where I am for the time being.
Stay where you are. We can coexist peacefully. Do you know what I mean? There's no problems whatsoever.
Okay.
So we'll finish with the Tinder sticks.
Yeah,
and
great. Okay.
Tiny tears, mate. And if we could maybe make this, you could come on every time we have a birthday.
Well, that suits me. I've nothing better to do. I mean, no offence, like.
Oh, sorry. Look at that. There's a proper Mark Lard mistake at the end.
Oh, that's all right. That would, we wouldn't want it to go too smoothly, would we? Right. Yeah. And does Tash still work on your show?
She still works.
All right.
Here.
Yeah. Well, send my love to Tash, who used to work with us as well. So.
I will do, Mark. And thanks for coming on, mate.
Okay, Colin. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
10 or 6.
Been lying